part 4, day 4. I didn't do anything yesterday. I didn't think I had that much to do, to be honest, and I was going to just wait till the crane hoist came and do it all on one day to finish up. But I came out today just to do a couple of things to make sure I could get some bolts undone, and I've been out for about 2-3 hours, just lots of small niggly jobs to do. But I'm there now. I think I've got it all ready to get the hoist on and drop. I've got the prop shaft off, front one and also the rear one, and I've got them tied up. Back when I've just got it supported because that's not really in the way, I'm just taking the weight off it. So that's that sorted out. Lots of electrical cables. I can't say which ones to get because there's just loads of them. I've got the over here. This is the support for the TransferBox and Gearbox, I guess you could call it. So I've got the bolt off that. It's actually on a little bracket and I'm worried about clearance on this. I may have to take this bracket off once I've got it lifted, I'm not sure. This side may clear, but this other side, if we go over here, it's in the sort of setup on here, but this one I've totally detached. I've detached it from the actual gearbox. There's 4 bolts holding it, and there's also, it's hard to see on there, but there's similar kind of pin setup and all of this bracket. I'm hoping when I lift it I'll just take this bracket out the way and it will give me more clearance to drop the actual gearbox. So one of the things that people recommend doing is to remove the viscous fan, because when you take your gearbox and TransferBox off, the engine will tilt forward. There's a lot of weight in that TransferBox and gearbox. I think it's about 135 kilograms, and that is all pulling on the engine. So when you relieve that from the engine is going to tip forward, and there's a good chance that your viscous fan will go through your radiator. Some people say it does get close, some say it doesn't. I'm not prepared to take the risk, so I'm going to take mine out for the sake of a 5-minute job. I'm also going to prop my engine as well with a bottle jack of some kind, so I'm going to try and keep it in position as best as I can. One viscous fan removed for safety. Just make sure you get the right left on right handed thread, do a bit of research as to which one yours is. Another job down and several more small jobs to go today. Oh, there he is. I'll take him off as well. I'm just trying to detach as many things as I possibly can. I fed the handbrake wiring through. I pulled a handbrake cable through. I detached that as well. I took the actual whole handbrake off and I've pulled it through, so I've still got the drum on mine. I can't see it at the moment, it's down here somewhere. So I've pulled all of this thing through to the other end of the handbrake cable, so hopefully that will drop down. There's a wire back here. I think that could be the speed sensor one. Not sure about that, but it's coming off. But again, there's loads of little annoying wires, so I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm just going to follow through and cut them all off or detach them. It's too dark, I need to go and get a torch to see what sort of connectors they all are. Every single one of them is different, as always with a Land Rover. Right, so one thing I'm struggling with is getting the actual serial number, which I need. I just can't read it off here. It is impossible. There's a faint 6 I think there, and that's about it, so no idea how I'm going to identify that for parts. I'll have to give them a call and see whether they can identify it from photographs. This is the slave clutch cylinder, which is out. Just 2 bolts. I've got it pushed out the way at the moment, just when I'm dropping it. One less thing to do. I've noticed it is starting to leak oil now. I've cracked off the bell housing bolts. I think I've got more. I'm going to have a look at a picture of a clutch bell housing because I've no idea if I've got all the bolts. I've got the ones at the bottom. I think there could be one extra one at the top. They're quite hard to access, but you can see they're all out, and this is going to pull back, but it is leaking. I think a seal's gone somewhere, so it's going to be a worthwhile job anyway. So that's all those out the way. I've got spinning round So spinning round, I've got the actual gearbox propped up now on a jack just to take the pressure off it, because it's not fixed anywhere now. I don't want it putting all the weight on the clutch bell housing. Now it's all starting to loosen off. There's all sorts of drips and leaks coming from it, so be interesting to see. I think there's a few seals gone out here and there now, so definitely loosening it all up will expose a lot more weaknesses. I've taken I go over all the cables, but it's totally random as what they are. I've just gone round literally and made sure there's not one cable attached to this. There's lots of like P-clips hanging off it. There's the earth cable. There's a couple of pull-off connectors for the diff lock light, and all sorts. I mean, I can't even identify them. I've just pulled them off, and I'll worry about putting them back on and cleaning them up once I've got a bit of access. So it's definitely started leaking oil now. I've cracked all these bolts, which means oil has been getting into the bell housing, so I think a seal is blown in there as well, but that we will find out later on. I think that's pretty much it. I'm ready to drop it. Oh, one annoying thing I've just discovered. So one annoying thing I've discovered is the actual starter motor, which I've had off before, and that is a job in itself, getting that thing off. Held on by 3 bolts, but they're so inaccessible. But this is actually attached to the bell housing, so goodness knows how that's going to go down. I don't want to detach it now. I'm hoping that when I start moving the bell housing back, I can get access to these bolts easier and undo them, because that was a day job, I think. Admittedly, they were seized on. These are new bolts in here, so I'm really worried about that one. I don't want to tackle that thing again. I got knuckles bashed and everything doing that. So apart from that, I think I'm pretty good to go. Just waiting on the crane lift. I've got the straps. I might try getting those located on here somewhere to get a good balance. And these are breather pipes. I did detach the breathers initially, one off the transfer and one off the gearbox, but in the end I just pulled them through because they come up in the bonnet area. So I shouldn't have detached those at this end. They'll have to come off at some point, but just for speed I'd have left them on and just pulled them through like I have here. So I had to access the bolts for the bell housing as well through here, and that is horrendous putting them in here. I couldn't see. I've got one of those inspection cameras. I had to use that and pretty much use that to guide my socket on. I think there's 2 here. I'm going to count them. I'll put the number on the screen, how many bolts are actually used to attach the bell housing to the back of the engine, because I'm not sure I've got them all. I'm going to go and count. I know how many I've taken off, so I'm going to count them. I'll put it on the screen how many there should be. I'm going to just make sure I've got them all. I think I've got them all. I hope there isn't another one here, because they were really tricky to get off. I have a suspicion that there's one in this area here, because I've taken nothing off here, so there'll be nothing holding it on. So yeah, hopefully if there's only one I can do it and fight it, but yeah, they were time consuming getting those off, and also when you come to put them back on, that's going to be an interesting thing. I thought about taking this part of the tunnel off as well. It's just more bolts to take off. It'd give you better access, I suppose, but I'll probably end up taking those off in order to get this thing on. Just makes it easier. But for now, I'm going to leave this on. I just can't be bothered to take it off, and if I can get away without taking it off, then all the better. Right, that's it. The end of part 4, day 4. Over and out. Next one will be the actual hoist and dropping it down.